What's up everyone, it's Scotty with MoneyVest. So in this video, of course, we're going to give you a complete update on the markets. We did see markets kind of recover a little bit back higher. It was a very flat day, and we did have the inflation numbers coming out today. And today we've also got the PPI numbers tomorrow. So tomorrow we've got the PPI, that's the producer price index. Today we had the CPI numbers. It's already past midnight in New York. That's why I said today PPI numbers are coming out. And CPI was yesterday, and the markets were basically flat to somewhat higher, pushing up intraday as well. So hope you all enjoy this video and find it helpful. Make sure that you drop a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're just joining us for the first time. And links to our Discord and Patreon and Instagram is going to be down below if you're interested in joining us, and of course getting access to all the members only private videos, and of course getting access to all the other really interesting stuff, including our spreadsheets, including my fair values. I've opened up a few more spots for the month of January 2024, and that 16% annual discount is available for a few more days. So link's going to be down below, and of course you get access to all the alerts. And I also do want to mention that our options, it's really not that complicated, folks. Like, I really want to teach, my goal for 2024 is really to help you generate some passive income by simply selling options. Like, for example, these right here are two covered calls I sold 2 days ago. Not even 2 days ago, might even be yesterday. But I sold them because I was expecting Tesla to continue to trade downward. And of course, there's a huge resistance at 275. So once you do join the Discord, once you become a part of our community, I will be looking out for you and for actionable stuff that you can take advantage of. And that $206, 41% profit is literally the entire year's worth of membership that you can have access to, which is just one trade right here. And this, again, options is where it's at. End phase here, up 23% on these two covered calls, or actually one covered call here. And that's the whole idea, right? You want to take advantage of options trading the best possible way. We've got a whole tutorials, educational courses, a lot of stuff, a lot of value that you can actually learn from these courses, and it's going to actually be helpful over the long term as well. So again, link's going to be down below. Definitely do check out the Instagram. Handle's going to be CastWRP. And I do post a lot of interesting stories behind the scenes with my workouts and portfolio updates and profit and losses. I did, took a very small trade on Mara. Small as in like very small in terms of time, of just over 3 minutes. I was able to lock in a little bit over $900 on the day. In fact, had I held on for 5 more minutes, right? That's actually one of the things that I'm kind of working on as a trader, is just being a little bit more patient, right? And there's like it's a very good sort of a learning process, because the markets are so interesting, because had I held this trade for 5 additional minutes, this 900 would have been over $5,000, right? So just think about that. It would have been 5x more in just 5 minutes. So smart work is more important than hard work, right? It's really important to focus on your knowledge, on your skills, as opposed to spending more time. Okay, if you're spending more time, right, do that for deep work. Learn important skills and learn important ideas, and really become more smart. Of course, you need to have a good work ethic. I think it's really important to work hard, but smart work will outrule hard work any day of the week. And that's exactly what this shows. And you know what's interesting is that had I held it on for 5 minutes, this trade would have been $5,000. Had I held it on for 10 additional minutes, this would have been down $1,000. So that's how volatile the markets are. That's how crazy it becomes from time to time when the markets kind of rally, push right back down. And Mara, of course, with the Bitcoin ETFs, was incredibly volatile. Ended up down over 12% on the day, and was down a little bit over 30% from its highs. So you can see that this right here is literally the only candlestick I caught on. Had I held it on for the entire time, I would have been destroyed with this entire move lower. So it's really important to trust your gut, have very tight stop losses, especially when you are trading in a very volatile environment, as we did today on the back of Bitcoin ETFs. So again, link's going to be down below for Instagram. Join our Discord, Patreon to get access to all the educational courses, tutorials, videos, members only videos, spreadsheets, and binds alerts, and everything's going to be included as well. So going over to another person making a prediction. This is getting so frustrating now at this point. The U.S. economy, or this U.S. economist just warned that 2024 will bring the biggest crash of our lifetime, predicts a shocking 86% nosedive for S&P 500. And here's his one and only place to hide. He says that this is the one time I'm telling you, do not listen to your financial advisor. Things are not going to come back to normal in a few years. We may never see these levels again. And this crash is not going to be a correction. It's going to be a more than 1929, 1932 level. And anybody who sat through that would have shot their stockbroker. He says that's an 86% crash in the S&P, a 92% crash in the NASDAQ, and crypto is going to see a 96% drop as well. Bottom line, folks, as I've tried to mention this time and time again, it is absolutely useless to make predictions. Like, if you are spending 15 minutes making predictions, you wasted 14 minutes of your life. Don't predict. It is a loser's game. How many times do people predict the market's going to crash? How many times do people predict the market's going to rip higher? How many times people predict that a certain ABC is going to happen, or this situation or that situation is going to take place? It is not worth your time. It is just not worth your time. Okay? It is much easier, it is much more profitable to be trading in the markets that you're currently in, not the markets that you want to be in or that you see that you will be in. It's simply about the present. It's simply about today. Live today. Don't ruin your present in hopes of a different tomorrow. Just live your today. And that's what the market and trading is all about, right? Be reactive. Understand what environment you are currently in, whether markets and stocks and ETFs and whatever you're trading, is it undervalued, overvalued, oversold, overbought, things like that, market technicals, what's the risk reward, how well is the potential for profit versus the potential for risk or losses. Just understand all those things, and you will have a much better, more simpler, and more peaceful trading and investing career and journey. S&P 500 closes a little change Thursday after a hotter than anticipated inflation numbers. So this right here was the market. NASDAQ flat, recovering really well. S&P 500 also just a little bit under 4,800, and Dow Jones just under 38,000 as well. This right here, the entire market. Of course, Tesla selling off. That's why those calls are up over 40%. Amazon slightly higher. Nvidia, Broadcom, Microsoft pushing up. Apple slightly flat. Netflix did push up close to 3%. We had Salesforce, a lot of software application companies. Utilities definitely selling off a little bit. Did with auto manufacturers, biotech, and financial stocks selling off as well on the day. So technology, energy pushing up, with all the other sectors kind of slightly down. In the last 1 week, it's been a little bit of a split market, and over the last 1 month, of course, all 11 sectors are green very, very nicely. And this right here is the one-day performance with orange juice and natural gas and sugar. Everything pushing higher with ethanol, Russell 2000, S&P cotton prices selling off. Bitcoin just under 46,000, and Ether just under 2,600 as well. If you come over to the FedWatch tool, the market's still pricing in 6 rate cuts going into 2024. So this year, they're expecting 6 rate cuts for us to come down to sub 4% for interest rates. And this right here, of course, where the inflation numbers coming in hotter than what the expectations are. And this, again, kind of reaffirms this idea that there is a possibility that interest rates may not come down as much as what the market's pricing in for, because this tells us inflation's still pretty elevated. We are still somewhat elevated, especially if you take a look at core CPI, that's ex food and energy. We're sitting at 3.9, right? So 3.9% is definitely something which is, of course, almost twice as much as the Fed's target. And we did accelerate back up for headline CPI to 3.4, and that's up from 3.1. So we're seeing some momentum back up in overall headline inflation. Core CPI continues to trend lower, but of course the sell-off or the decline is not as aggressive as what Federal Reserve and the markets wants to see. So this is a very aggressive projection, and that's exactly why I do still believe there is some level of that disappointment or that repricing risk the markets currently carry. Volatility here, on the other hand, continues to slide lower. It was higher on the day, but now it's down almost 2%, coming back down to inside this red rectangle at the moment, a little bit over 12.4. And of course, crude oil prices also consolidating sideways a little bit at that resistance or support at around $71, $72 per barrel. And resistance is going to be all the way up to $81 per barrel as well. So this is going to be that next resistance to watch for crude oil, and support level is going to stay put right over here at $73, $74 a barrel once again for crude. Bitcoin, on the other hand, did see a rally back up to 47, 48,000, 49,000 actually, and then it sold right back down. So it's back under 47,000, a little bit over 46K. And Ether here also pushing up to 2,600. So it saw a very nice breakout to the upside. A lot of these crypto ETFs, Bitcoin ETFs, actually ended up selling off. So if you take a look at IBIT, which is the iShares Bitcoin Trust, take a look at the entire sell-off from an intraday high of $30 down a little bit over 11.5%. Then FBTC, which is your Fidelity Wise Origin Bitcoin, Again, from highs of $50, sold off over 19%. And then ARKB, which is also the ARK Invest Bitcoin ETF, also selling off down to 46.76, an intraday loss of a little bit over 10.5%. So a lot of them intraday sold off very, very aggressively. Same thing was true with Mara, from a high of over $29, sold off over 24% down to $22 per share. So again, it's kind of like, you know, a lot of these ETFs kind of rally on up until the catalyst. So it's kind of like buy the rumor, sell the news. And once the actual news comes out and everything's approved and trading, stocks are selling off. Bitcoin, crypto, everything's starting to roll over. But of course, once it stabilizes a little bit, maybe there's some potential involvement and some additional liquidity that kind of comes in from retail and institution that pushes crypto prices back up. So that is something to keep in mind, of course, for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, for crypto in general, and a lot of crypto mining stocks and ETFs that have been now listed in the US markets. So that's where we are talking about the S&P 500 now. And S&P is, again, just within striking distance. And when I say striking distance, it's quite literally less than 1% away from its all-time highs. It, in fact, closed at just under 4,800. So 4,814, we are about 80 basis points away. Just one strong day, and we are at an all-time high for the S&P 500. We did see a little bit of a dip here. And then, of course, buyers stepping back in to push the markets back up. RSI MACD still a little bit more on the elevated side. So that is something that we will continue to watch and monitor for the S&P 500. Now, going over to the NASDAQ here, quite also getting bought up very nicely. You did see a little bit of a dip here, 4 or 5 consecutive red days, coming down to that support of 14,400 to as much as 14,600, bouncing right back up a little bit over 4%. And of course, we're coming back up to that target and that resistance at 15,100, 15,400 as well. So this right here is going to be that next level of resistance to watch, and the all-time high sits well over 16K. So NASDAQ is nowhere near close to its all-time high yet. It still needs to go up 7 to 8% in order for us to see that all-time high, the all-time high that everyone's been waiting on for the NASDAQ, for S&P. Talking about the 10-year treasuries here very, very quickly. So we are seeing a little bit of a rally back up on the back of those inflation numbers. But this right here is going to be a level to keep in mind for the treasuries, which has previously acted as a support and a resistance. It's a very, very important threshold for the 10-year treasuries, sitting at 4%. So 4 to 4.1%, very important level. Keep that in mind. Now going over to Apple. And Apple here, down about 32 basis points, continues to kind of move up a little bit slowly and steadily. RSI MACD showing some signs of potential upside. Resistance going to be all the way up to 190 for Apple, and of course support level kind of perfectly aligned with that 200 simple moving average at around $180 per share. If it ends up breaking down below this, next support is going to be down to 165, and that's exactly where Apple trade is going to be a lot more better. In other words, a lot better in terms of that risk and reward. And at that levels, I will be very aggressive in dollar cost averaging and buying, starting a new position and buying more shares at those prices for Apple stock. Talking about Amazon, and Amazon here continues to move up. It did try to break out over 155, close slightly higher with a massive doji candle. So lots of indecision for Amazon. I mean, this is just incredible. I mean, it traded as much as 157, traded as low as 153, and closed right in the dead center middle, 155. And next resistance and target is going to be 161 for Amazon, with, of course, a resistance and a target closer to $155, with a support level staying put at 148 for Amazon as well. So very, very nice consistent uptrend for Amazon at the moment. Talking a little bit about Tesla here. Tesla continues to drop further down below that 200 simple moving average, making its way down to potentially low 200s. Slowly and steadily, I'll do an update analysis. I'll do a proper analysis on this stock. Once again, kind of giving you guys a technical update, but it has not seen the best performance over the last couple of weeks. 2024 has not been a great year so far for Tesla. It is already down a little bit over 9% on the year. And of course, there's been a couple different catalysts that are pushing this stock further down. And it's on a weekly time frame, it's coming back down to its 200 simple moving average. That's going to be in the low 200s. And that's also in line with this green rectangle for Tesla as well. Talking about NVIDIA here, NVIDIA has been on an absolute insane rally this week. It's up over 11.6%, hitting a new all-time high. So there's not really much to go over other than the fact that it had an ascending triangle, broke out perfectly with heavy volumes. And of course, right now it is sitting at just under $1.4 trillion market cap with a new all-time high, sitting at well over $563 per share. Advanced Micro Devices also up close to 7% on the week. On the day, of course, seeing a little bit of that rejection and a pullback from highs of $150, and support level is going to stay put at 130, and resistance all the way up to 156 for AMD. Lots of consolidation, and again, this is going to be that resistance to watch for AMD. We're seeing a lot of sideways action with the support level staying put at close to 130, resistance all the way up to 156 for advanced micro devices. Talking about PayPal, and PayPal here on the day pushing up a little bit over 64 basis points, seeing that recovery back up after the sell-off. Lots of consolidation sideways. Support level is going to stay put at $56, $57 with a resistance and a target up to $65 per share for PayPal. And again, we're seeing a lot of consolidation for PayPal at the moment. Talking about Visa, and Visa here also hitting that higher high as we discussed in our previous videos. So this right here is going to be that level to keep in mind. That is a resistance to watch for Visa. And of course, it is a little bit more on the overbought side as well, with a little bit of a negative divergence. So if it ends up selling off, I wouldn't be surprised if it does. 257 all the way down to 245, 250s are going to be some support levels to watch for Visa. That's going to be about a 6 to 7% potential downside for this company. And Visa also does offer pretty good swing trading opportunities eventually if it ends up coming down to that 200 SMA. That's going to be sitting at 239. So keep that in mind. Like, a lot of these levels are going to be helpful for when the prices do get hit. Visa is a fantastic company, perfect for swing trading opportunities, and this is something that we will take in 2024. The moment it comes down to those levels, we will be looking at swing trading opportunities, similar to what it was over here, right? Perfect in October. Since then, it's rallied 15, 16%. So we'll keep a close eye on when it comes down to that 200 simple moving average. Talking about Meta platforms, and Meta here also pushing higher, a little bit over 369. So continues to move up with an overbought RSI and MACD as well. Very, very nice uptrend that it continues. This is kind of like below the top off rally. Support level is going to stay put at 353 for Meta, and support level kind of in line with this green rectangle between $315 and $330 per share for Meta platforms as well. Talking about Netflix, and Netflix here seeing a very nice move back higher, and a little bit of a doji candle, very similar to Amazon. So, no buyers, no sellers, long wicks on either side with a very small body. This right here is going to be a resistance to watch for Netflix. And support level is going to stay put down to $450. So that is going to be that level to keep in mind. A very, very nice move to the upside, higher highs and a little bit of higher lows for Netflix as well. So it continues to move up in that direction. Talking about Google, and Google here on the day down about 9 basis points, but continues to break out further above 140s. Next target and resistance is going to be a 150, 151. So this right here is going to be that level to watch for Google, and a lot of consolidation, and support level is going to stay put down to 126 in line with that 200 simple moving average for Google as well. So very, very strong company. Lots of potential upside here left. 150, 151 is going to be that next target and resistance. And finally, we come down to Enphase and Costco. Enphase continues to come down a little bit over 2.7%. That's why those calls are up 20, 23%. Low 100s is going to be that support level to watch for Enphase, and resistance back up to 130, 131, 132 around those levels. And then finally, we got Costco. And Costco here continues to move up a little bit over 12 basis points, trading as much as 673. So, like I said, I think it's really important for everyone to take advantage of options. Like I said, my 2024 goal is to get as many people involved in options as possible the right way, because, if we don't buy calls, we don't buy puts. Like, I at least don't buy calls and puts. All I simply do is sell options to generate premiums and cash flow. And my success rate, I'm not kidding. This is not me bragging or flexing. This is simply telling you the truth. If you come take a look at the options channel, if you ask all of our members and ask them about them and their journey of how they got started in options and how well are they doing. I've seen members, I've known members, and I've gotten messages, people who didn't know what options were up until a year ago. And as soon as they started trading the right way, which is selling options, selling calls and puts, they're now consistently generating cash flow, and their success rate is over 80%. Because as an option seller, as we know, 75 to 80% options expire worthless. They expire out of the money. So when they kind of decay all the way down to zero, as an option seller, it allows me to collect the full premium. It allows me to collect the entire premium and get credited with the entire premium. So that is a very, very consistent, very predictable, very sound and safe strategy, in my personal opinion, something that I've tested and experienced and traded for years. And I highly recommend that you take advantage of that. So if you have any questions, we're going to literally start you from the beginning with all the tutorials. Ask our members, ask me, I'm always available. So link's going to be down below if you want to join. And also do connect with me on Instagram. Our handle is going to be CASWRP. As always, happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.